Armaf. Afnan. Armafnan. I should make my own clone brand. Ashmaf. Ashnan. I need to make this happen. Oh. Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. How are you doing? You can ignore what I just said. I am definitely not making Ashnan clone fragrances. Seriously though, that would be pretty funny. Today we're taking a look at a new clone release. This one is from the house of Afnan and it's called 9am Dive. So fragrancebuy.ca, they stocked this one recently, so I had to get my grubby hands on it. Now I do, linked in the description in case you want to check it out. It's right around $33. It fluctuates depending on conversion rates, but it's in the lower 30s US. So yeah, this one I wanted to pick up because 9pm, of course, by Afnan is a very popular clone fragrance. That one is a clone of Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Mall. And when this one first dropped, I was not sure exactly what it was a clone of. I saw that it had this nice blue coloration to it, so I figured probably something blue. And yes, it is blue, both in coloration and in clonation. So in today's video, as always, I will go over this fragrance with you, let you know how it smells, show you the presentation up close and personal, let you know if it's worth about 30 bucks and some change or not, and of course let you know what it smells similar to. So let's jump into it. Let's do it. Let's jump into the presentation. Let's take a look. So here we got the front of the box. You have the name of the fragrance, name of the house, size and concentration, 100 ml size bottle, eau de parfum concentration. Up top it says Afnan, nothing on the sides and nothing on the bottom of the box here. On the back you have the ingredients, you've got your badge code, you have your little sticker of authenticity. This one's cool, man. It's got a little holographic effect on it. Wow, spared no expense. Let's see, the badge code says that my bottle expires 01/2028, and then it opens up like so. And there's a little cutout on the inside where the bottle sits in, and it's a thick foam cutout. It has this little stock photo of some waves crashing upon rocks to put you in the mood for some fresh blue fragrance. And here we got the bottle. It's simple, but it feels good in the hand. It's nice and heavy. It's not too flashy. And you know, I'll tell you, with how ugly and fugly some clone fragrance bottles look, I'll take this. I mean, we could have like the top 10 ugliest clone fragrance bottles of all time list, and man, there's some putrid stuff on there. Back to this one though. On the front, once again, name of the fragrance, name of the house, size and concentration. The cap is a heavy metal cap. It does click into place, but it's not really a super snug hold, so I probably wouldn't try to lift this one by the cap. And then on the bottom, you have a simple sticker. You know what time it is? It's time to spray this bad boy out. Let's share a few sprays together here. The atomizer is actually pretty good, but it sprays out in a really wide mist. So it reminds me of like those, you know, like garden hose handles. And you can set it to the, like the cone setting, I think it is, mist setting, where it just shoots out in like a really wide angle. That's kind of what goes on with the atomizer here. It works well, it just really disperses out in a big area. Let's talk about the scent. How does 9am Dive smell, and is it worth that $30 some odd price point? Well, I will tell you straight off, it does smell similar in many aspects to a very popular blue fragrance, one of the most popular blue fragrances out there, and that would be this guy, good old Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. I mean, to be fair, if you're going to be emulating or cloning a popular designer blue fragrance, that's probably the best one to go for. At least if you're just trying to get that, you know, maximum versatility type scent out there. And it's not really a surprise that it is a clone of Bleu de Chanel, because if you look at the note breakdown for 9am Dive, it's really similar to Bleu de Chanel. There aren't quite as many notes officially in 9am Dive, but the notes that are there almost across the board, you're going to find in Bleu de Chanel. So it's not a big surprise there. Now, this is not the first time that a clone house has done Bleu de Chanel, one of the major clone houses. Actually, Armaf cloned Bleu de Chanel with this guy, Tag Him pour on. And just to very quickly get this out of the way, between 9am Dive and Tag Helm, there is no competition. Tag Helm sucks. I know there are some people out there that are a fan of Tag Helm, and it is cheaper than 9am Dive, but this is a poor emulation of Bleu de Chanel. It's way more synthetic, much more chemically. It's not at all as smooth. It doesn't really smell well put together. It's, in my opinion, one of the lower quality clones that Armaf has done. And just kind of driving that home, the lack of quality with this fragrance, when I got this brand new, this little tag that says Tag Helm on it, yeah, that's another problem. It has a magnetic cap that really, the magnet doesn't work. I'll get that later. But the little tag that says Tag Helm, it was rusted when I got it, brand new from Armaf. I'm not gonna waste any more time on Tag Helm. Just be aware that between the two, you really don't even need to mess with that one if you're trying to get, you know, as close to Bleu de Chanel as you can, because that won't do it for you. 9am Dive. In the opening, thankfully, it does not have any of that off-putting, rubbing alcohol type smell that some clones do have. And I've mentioned this before, a lot of the clone fragrances coming out nowadays from the bigger clone brands are devoid of that. They don't have that rubbing alcohol harshness off the top, which you used to frankly associate with clone fragrances like Tag Helm. Back in the day, they would come out and you'd spray them on and you'd go in for a whiff right away and just go, oh God, let it dry down for about 20 minutes. Then you can smell it. That no longer applies. Like I just sprayed on, immediately going for a smell, no funk. So in the opening, it's very fresh. You have that lemon, you have that brightness, you've got that mint in there. So it's a very uplifting opening, extremely appealing, easy to wear, exactly what you would expect from a fragrance that is trying to do a version of Bleu de Chanel. The quality is good, nothing sticks out, it doesn't come across synthetic smelling, so it's well done. Very quickly, it does seg out of that opening, so that lemon, that fruit in the opening, that sweetness, that freshness, it starts to come away a little bit. The incense slowly comes in. And I should mention also that part of that opening is the ginger. So that ginger mixing together with the citrus and that mint is what does make it so appealing. Very zingy, as I said, fresh, uplifting. You get the drill. So as it dries down, it does become, you know, a little ambroxany, you could say. It's not quite as full with the woodiness that you're going to find in Bleu de Chanel, but it's still very well done. And woo, hey, Ash from the future here once again. So 9am Dive, after I shot the video, actually a few people had reached out to me and asked, hey, this 9am Dive, is it more Bleu de Chanel or is it more Spice Bomb Night Vision Eau de Toilette? And since I had a couple people reach out, I figured, just put it in the video. Makes it simpler. So I sprayed 9am Dive side by side with Spice Bomb Night Vision Eau de Toilette, also with Bleu de Chanel as well. And I can see where some people are coming from with the sweetness that 9am Dive has. It's got like a little similarity to the way the sweetness comes across in Spice Bomb Night Vision Eau de Toilette. But to me, what I would say is that 9am Dive is closer to Bleu de Chanel with kind of like a little bit of that Invictus bubblegum type touch to it, which of course is what you're gonna find in Spice Bomb Night Vision Eau de Toilette as well. So 9am Dive to me is more like a Bleu de Chanel with a twist type of clone. Not exactly a one-to-one with Bleu de Chanel. So it's not like a direct copy of it where, you know, from top to bottom it smells the same. To me, 9am Dive has a little more of that Bleu de Chanel vibe as it heads out of the opening and starts to segue into the mid, into the dry down, and you get a little bit more of that woodiness that comes out. You get a little bit more of that classiness. I mean, it's not that it's completely devoid of anything Bleu de Chanel in the opening to me, but it definitely has this mixture of bubblegum sweetness to it that Bleu de Chanel does not have, and that's going to give it this kind of Invictus-y vibe to an extent. And depending on what you key in on, it may come across a little bit more differently to you. So what I mean by that is I've seen some people say that it's just straight up not even remotely close to Bleu de Chanel, like it's completely different. And I think they're keying in more on that that sweetness, that kind of bubblegum, synthetic-y type sweetness that you're gonna find in Spice Bomb Night Vision, that you're gonna find in Invictus. And then by the same token, I've seen some people say that it's absolutely nothing like those fragrances, and it is closer to like Bleu de Chanel or Versace Dylan Blue. So this one is a little bit interesting in the way that it's being different things to different people. And I think that that's because, again, this is more of one of those like hybrid type clones, if you want to call it that. Go into it with a little bit of an open mind, because depending on what comes through most clearly to you, this one could be a better alternative to Dylan Blue or Bleu de Chanel or Invictus or even Spice Bomb Night Vision. It's somewhere between all of those. All right, back to me in the past. Goodbye. Bleu de Chanel similarity, you're going to get that same versatility. It's going to be basically an anytime you want it fragrance. You know, it's going to work during the summer, during the spring, especially the fall, even during the winter, daytime or evening, either one. I know the name 9am Dive makes you think more of like a summertime fragrance when it's very hot outside with all this freshness that you expect from it. And again, the freshness is there, but this is not the type of scent that you relegate to just summer during the day. And even though I said you can pull it off during the winter, and I think you can, it's absolutely not the type of fragrance people are going to think of as a winter scent. It's just as usual with these fresh summertime fragrances. I think that they work very often quite well during the cold months. I've been wearing it, like I said, the past few days. It smelled awesome. Now let's talk about performance. The longevity on this off skin is pretty good. I'd say a little bit above average for me. The projection is more in the average range. So it does perform more like, just for lack of better wording, your run-of-the-mill blue fragrance. You know, the performance is fine, but it's not anything amazing. It'll get the job done, but it's not the type of fragrance that you spray on and then 12 hours later, you're still easily picking it up. Of course, with it being cheaper, spray it on your clothes if you want, you know, spray it on heavily, reapply, whatever, because it's not all that pricey. So on the whole, 9am Dive, a very solid alternative to Bleu de Chanel. And at this point, I would say it's probably your best bet for a Bleu de Chanel alternative on the cheap. Outside of maybe Missoni Parfum Pour Homme. That one is very nice as well. That's going to get you close to like the Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette type vibe. And Missoni Parfum you can pick up under 40 bucks typically. I've seen it as low as around 30 for 100 mils. So that one is another one that I can recommend to you. Between Missoni Parfum and 9am Dive, if I could have only one, I'd probably go with the Missoni. But do keep in mind that Missoni Parfum is a little closer to the Eau de Toilette version of Bleu de Chanel, and 9am Dive is a little bit closer to the Eau de Parfum version of Bleu de Chanel. But we are kind of splitting hairs at this point, and I'm sure some people would smell 9am Dive and think, nah, you know, it's a little closer to the EDT version of Bleu de Chanel. So yeah, regardless though, those are going to be your two best bets. So we'll just, I guess, leave it there, those two. Missoni Parfum 9am Dive. They just do have that little bit of a difference where Missoni Parfum, I can say, much closer to the EDT of Bleu de Chanel, and then 9am Dive leans a little closer to the EDP. So, all right, that will do it for me, guys. If you've smelled 9am Dive, let me know what you think about it. As always, thanks for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.